Right now at noon, a victim identified after a deadly 4th of July boat crash near Sauvie Island. The latest on the investigation.
Next you know, I hear just a big bang just go off, right?
A Salem neighborhood rocked on the 4th of July after an illegal mortar injures multiple people and shatters windows. Plus, we are just hours away from the U.S. men's national team kicking off against Belgium. We have a preview on tonight's game in Seattle. We start with breaking news out of Beaverton, where police shot and killed an armed robbery suspect overnight at a cannabis shop. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us at noon. I'm Blair Best. Now, police say this happened just before 10 o'clock last night after they were called to reports of an armed robbery at Nectar Market on Southwest Hall Boulevard. Now, officers say they found the suspect, who they believe to be involved in the robbery, shortly after getting on scene. It's not clear what led up to the moment police fired their gun. We're told the suspect died at the scene and no one else was hurt. The Washington County Major Crimes Team is now leading the investigation. And we are now learning the identity of the woman killed in a boat crash near Sauvie Island over the weekend. Deputies say 25-year-old Rosalind Albornoz was killed after the 33-foot cabin she was riding on crashed into an aluminum walkway leading to a dock. Now, this all happened just before 11:30 Saturday night. First responders found the woman dead at the scene, while 4 other adults, including the boat's operator, were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators are working to figure out what caused the crash and say no arrests have been made. Deputies say it is too early to know whether speed, impairment, or lighting played a role. All right, let's take a live look over Providence Park, where in just a matter of hours, 20,000 World Cup fans will gather to cheer on the U.S. men's national team tonight. The U.S. will take on Belgium tonight in Seattle for a spot in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. And Portland's Providence Park will host the biggest watch party in the area. But if you want to go, sorry to break it to you, you're out of luck. All 20,000 tickets were claimed within hours last week. Okay, so if USA wins today, what comes next? Well, the winner moves on to the quarterfinals, or the top 8. They would play the winner of Portugal versus Spain, which just kicked off minutes ago. And the U.S. national team hasn't made it to the quarterfinals since 2002. Now, this all comes as FIFA has reversed a controversial World Cup suspension, allowing U.S. forward Folarin Balogun to play against Belgium, after President Trump personally asked the organization to review the decision. Jay Coulter has the details.
Yeah, the U.S. will have its leading goal scorer playing in today's match after all, after FIFA lifted Folarin Balogun's automatic 1-game suspension. Balogun received a red card during Wednesday's 2-0 win over Bosnia and Herzegovina after video review determined he stepped on an opponent's ankle. The call would have forced him to miss the match against Belgium. Instead, FIFA announced yesterday that the suspension would be deferred on a 1-year probation, making Balogun eligible to play. According to a person familiar with the matter, President Donald Trump called the FIFA president after the match and asked the organization to review the red card. Trump posting on social media after, quote, "Thank you to FIFA for doing what was right and reversing a great injustice." The U.S. team also reacting to the change.
For us, it gives us a boost. We're really excited. He's been so good for us this tournament, so to have him for tomorrow is obviously really exciting for us.
Belgium's coach criticized the decision as unprecedented, but the U.S. coach defended the move, saying that the U.S. team had already been punished enough after being forced to play with only 10 men in the final 30 minutes against Bosnia and Herzegovina. And you can watch the game against Belgium here at Providence Park today. That's at 5 o'clock. Back to you.
Okay, and before today's kickoff, our stream team has got you covered with a pregame streaming special from analysis to fans. We'll take you to Seattle to get ready for the U.S. versus Belgium game. You can tune in today at 2 o'clock on the KGW streaming app. And it is going to be a hot day for World Cup fans across the metro. Celine Stevens is live in the Weather Center with more on that. Hey, Celine.
Hi, Blair. Yeah, it's going to be a warm one for sure. Temperatures are expected to get up to 90 degrees today. But either way, it's going to be warm. Right now, taking a live look at our sky camera in the Dalles, sitting at 85 degrees at the moment. Again, it's a warm day already, and it's only going to get warmer as we get later on into our Monday. So temperatures across the map, 73 in Portland, 75 in McMinnville, 75 in Hillsborough. Lots of 70s at this hour. Along the coast, still a little bit cooler. We're looking at 60s over there. But as we've been, temperatures are just different compared to yesterday. They're warmer, and you'll see it right here. We're on a slight warming trend. It's really a one-day warming trend. We're dealing with high pressure over our area. 7 degrees warmer right now compared to this time yesterday. 7 in Vancouver, 8 in Aurora. So clearly we are heating up today compared to what we saw over the weekend. One thing I do want to point out, today's going to be the hottest day of the week, so we'll still be warm for the rest of the week, but today's the hottest one. And another thing is that fire weather watch that we were looking at this morning has now been upgraded to a red flag warning in the gorge going into effect tomorrow. We're going to see low humidity around 15%. We're going to see winds around 35 miles per hour, so that's definitely something we'll be tracking. But overall, it's going to be warm and dry for the rest of our week. Here's our temperatures trending up to the upper 80s by 6 p.m., but there's still a good chance we're going to hit 90. Either way, it's a warm one. We'll talk more in a bit, Blair.
Okay, Celine, thanks so much. All right, let's take a look at some national headlines this afternoon. Today is the final day of the 4th of July travel period. AAA is expecting 877,000 Oregonians to have traveled for the holiday. This year, the agency also saw more Americans travel for the 4th, but not by driving or flying, by boat. AAA says cruises have seen the biggest increase in popularity this year, over 5% compared to last year. But there is good news for drivers, with gas prices dropping in Portland, across the state of Oregon, and in Washington as well. Okay, so in Portland, the average price is down 7.6 cents per gallon in the last week, averaging $4.71. That's according to Gas Buddy. Statewide in Oregon, the average is now $4.57 a gallon. That's down from $4.70 a week ago. And then over in Washington, the average price is now $5.03 a gallon. That's down from $5.18 a week ago. That's according to AAA. Okay, so mailing a letter could soon cost you more money. The U.S. Postal Service plans to raise the price of a first-class Forever stamp from 78 cents to 82 cents, pending approval from federal regulators. So if approved, the new price would take effect this Sunday. The Postal Service says it needs more revenue to help offset rising operating costs as it works to remain self-funded. Stamp prices have climbed steadily in recent years, but the USPS maintains that its postage rates still remain among the lowest in the world. And President Trump rang the opening bell for the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ this morning. There he is. The event marked the first day of trading for Trump accounts. The new investment and savings vehicle allows parents to contribute to their children's future. Parents of eligible babies born between 2025 and 2028 will be given $1,000 to invest. Meantime, the president is preparing for a high-stakes trip. He's expected to travel to Turkey later today for the NATO summit. NBC senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has more.
President Trump getting ready for a high-stakes NATO summit in Turkey, a potentially pivotal moment for the wars in Iran and Ukraine. Over the weekend, President Trump speaking to both Russia's Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky. But complicating peace efforts, a new round of deadly Russian strikes on Ukraine's capital overnight. The summit will also test the U.S.'s relationship with European allies. The president has long railed against them for not spending enough, but is increasingly frustrated with NATO's lack of support for the Iran war. Trump saying this last month.
I just want their loyalty. We don't need their money. We don't need anything.
It all comes as he's facing new fallout from his wide-ranging speech celebrating America's 250th birthday, a address that veered from patriotism
This is only the dawn of the golden age of America.
to politics.
America will never be a communist country. Won't happen.
His speech was delayed after a storm threat prompted authorities to evacuate the National Mall for hours, telling people to rush to nearby federal buildings.
This is the National Museum of African American History and Culture. It reached capacity, and so hundreds of people, including many families, ended up waiting here outside for the storms to pass.
Eventually, the show did go on with a spectacular fireworks display around midnight. Another incident earlier in the day is also making headlines. Hundreds of masked white supremacists marched through the streets of the nation's capital, chanting and waving Confederate flags. This striking photo shows a woman surrounded by marchers on the D.C. Metro. The Interior Secretary responding.
Certainly, what they stand for is nothing that I could possibly agree with, but one of the foundational principles of the United States, which makes democracy messy, is free speech.